From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight, new filings by the attorneys for the Fairbanks Four say they haven't agreed to give up their claims of innocence.
It's something Kevin Pease, George Freeze, Eugene Vent, and Marvin Roberts have maintained for 18 years. They didn't kill John Hartman in October of 1997. Last week, a deal between the men and the state of Alaska leaked to the press after Hartman's brother posted it to social media. In a surprise move, Judge Paul Lyle canceled the hearing, calling into question the details and legality of the proposed settlement. More filings since then have given a look into the extensive list of entities the men would agree never to sue and even the prospect of being re-prosecuted. In a filing made by attorneys for the Fairbanks Four, it reads they, quote, strongly disagree with the court's summary of the proposed deal. It goes on to say that although the men agreed to withdraw their current post-conviction relief filing, they would continue to maintain they are innocent of the crimes for which they were convicted.
They're maintaining their innocence. The state would dismiss charges against them and essentially, almost create a situation where as if it never happened. I don't think it's ever been about money for them. It's been, it's long been just that they're innocent. It's been about justice and achieving justice. And the reality is that you can't put a dollar figure on justice. Given that they may be able to, their innocence acknowledged and come home for Christmas, it's hard to put a price tag on that. They've missed a lot of holidays, they've missed a lot of days with their family. And although I can understand why there are community members that wish they would hold out for monetary compensation, I think that these men voluntarily have laid enough personally kind of at the altar of a better justice system for Alaskans.
Now, according to Thursday's court order, both sides had 10 days from December 10th to file additional briefings that would further explain their positions and the legality of their proposed settlement. A spokeswoman for Governor Bill Walker said although he is considering a pardon or clemency for the Fairbanks Four, it is inappropriate for him to get involved.
Interior mayors met with state lawmakers today to discuss priorities for the upcoming legislative session. Ryan Grimes has the story.
In the first ever combined legislative discussion involving the three interior governments, the bodies had a total of 2 hours to get through legislative funding and initiative proposals for state legislators to consider.
I really liked having more of a community approach to this and having both cities and the borough in the same room at the same time.
The Fairbanks North Star Borough is asking for over $37 million worth of state funding to kickstart an enhanced home heating appliance exchange program, provide service area road improvements, fund a roof replacement for the borough administrative center, renovate Barnett Magnet School, and much more.
We have many more than that on our list. We only put 10 on because the reality is we're not even going to see the 10 get funded with the financial position of the state right now. And so I think our main message was such that we understand the capital budget has been trimmed dramatically this year, and we understand that it should be, but that's not a sustainable position, and the state needs to figure out how they're going to be able to start working on the capital projects list.
Mayor Bryce Ward of the city of North Pole is asking for capital priority to fund the construction of a sewer main extension. Ward says the changes in the flow of the Tanana River, where the city discharges treated wastewater, is drying up. The Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation issued North Pole a notice of violation last year, prompting the city to resolve the problem. If not fixed soon, projected costs to extend the sewer main will go over $4 million.
It definitely would impact our ability to do projects in the future. It would also, if we continue to not come up with a solution to this, there are potentials for penalties and fines through DEC.
Mayor John Eberhardt with the city of Fairbanks is asking for approximately $4.5 million from the state to construct storage buildings for firefighting equipment and Fairbanks Police Department evidence, a backup generator for public works, and a new city ambulance. However, Eberhardt's #1 priority for capital funding is for the continuation of the Emergency Service Patrol Initiative. That helps transport intoxicated persons without the need for police or fire involvement.
That's something the state tells us we need to do, but traditionally they've never sent any money along to do it, to perform it. We don't want to run out of money late in 2016, as will probably happen. And then what do we do? How do we help the vulnerable people? how to relieve our police officers and firefighters from having to do those pickups and transports.
The 29th Alaska State Legislature begins its second regular session on January 19th next month. Many Alaska representatives that attended the combined legislative meeting stressed the need to balance the state budget deficit before making decisions on capital funding priorities. This is Ryan Grimes reporting.
When we come back, unfortunately, because of statewide budget cuts, many schools across Alaska will be affected. We'll tell you how badly.
Also, artwork collected by a well-known pillar of the community is going up for sale to support a foundation to benefit the community. Those stories are next.
Welcome back. A man accused of kidnapping and felony assault has changed his plea as part of a deal with the state. Donald Michael Joseph has been in custody at Fairbanks Correctional Center since 2014 after authorities say he invaded a home and assaulted an occupant. Joseph faced a total of 5 felonies and up to 200 years in prison for the alleged crimes. However, today, Joseph pleaded guilty to 2 misdemeanor assault charges. For both of those, Joseph was sentenced to 2 years in prison, most of which has already been served at FCC. Joseph told the judge this afternoon that the details of the case were false and that he never had a weapon during the alleged assault.
People living in the village of Beaver are fighting to keep their school open. The school only has funding through the end of this semester, and with only 8 students is too short of the minimum needed to get state funding. Rhonda Pitka, first chief of Beaver Village Council, is leading the fight to help keep that school open until the end of the academic year. Her daughter Elena is 4 years old and starts kindergarten next fall. Elena and another student will increase the student count to the required 10. The Yukon Flats School Board is meeting tomorrow at 2 to hear testimony from those advocating to keep the school open through the end of the academic year. Pitka said a legislative proposal to raise the number of students to over 20 for a school to get funding would impact at least 60 Alaska villages.
It would either force children and their families to move or homeschool. And then the third option would be sending children, into foster care so they could go to school. That's not the best option ever. It's sort of a horrible option.
Artwork collected over the years by a well-known Fairbanksan will be up for sale this week. Monty Bowen has details.
The late Bill Stroker was a well-known banker who grew up in Fairbanks and over the years acquired a large collection of fine art. There are about 125 items going on the auction block.
It is spectacular art here. A lot of Alaskan artists, and the state has created the Bill Stroker Foundation, so all the proceeds are going to go to the Bill Stroker charities that are in the foundation.
There are different types of art.
Over here we have a bronze sculpture by Tok artist Frank Ensminger. It's 110 pounds. It is solid bronze. It is spectacular with its detail. It's got an appraised value of $12,500.
Stroker had 21 of Frank Ensminger's sculptures.
And you can see these pieces on the Fairbanks Auction website. If you go to their website at fairbanksauction.com, you can see pictures, have the appraised values. You can actually even bid online if you want for this auction.
There are also 2 rare moose hide sketches.
We have one that's from 1919, and it depicts a stern wheeler that came up to Fairbanks. A lot of interest in those moose hides, kind of an art that just hasn't been carried forward.
The auction will start at 6:30 Wednesday evening, December 16th at the Morris Thompson Center downtown. This is Monty Bowen reporting.
All right, Joe Cook is up next with the weekend recap in local sports.
Alaska hockey gets back on their horse in the Governor's Cup.
More on that, plus the high five after the break.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here this Monday night with the weekend recap, and a must-win weekend for the Alaska Nanooks. Against their rivals, they answered the call. On the road for the first 2 games of the Governor's Cup, Alaska took game 1 2-1 on Friday night. These highlights here. Saturday was all about toughness. Tyler Morley, he scored the equalizer in the second period to make it a 1-1 game. After that, the UAF defense and Jesse Jenks closed up the net. Jenks made 32 saves on Saturday night and made 25 on Friday night. He was named WCHA Rookie of the Week. Alaska killed 8 penalties in Game 2 of the Gov Cup, which ended in a 1-1 tie, but Alaska ends their 7-game winless streak. They will go into 2016 with some much-needed momentum. The Fairbanks Ice Dogs and Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights traded wins over the weekend. Fairbanks had a 1-goal advantage late, but the Knights scored 2 shorthanded goals, one in the last 20 seconds of regulation and the other in the first 30 seconds of overtime to win it 5-4. Fairbanks won 4-3 on Friday night for the split. Todd Burgess had a goal in the helper, and Joseph Ingman added 2 assists in the loss. Fairbanks is 21-4-3, second in the NHL and first in the Midwest. Next up for the Dogs are the New Jersey Titans. A well-deserved congratulations is in order for one of UAF's coaches. On Saturday night, the Alaska men's basketball team rolled in a 117-70 victory over Northwest Indian College. The win gives head coach Mick Durham 300 career wins. In the victory, Bengali Kaba scored 20 points in consecutive nights on 8 for 9 shooting. He also scored 20 on Friday night. Alaska got win 299 for Durham. Neil Chavez scored a career high 19 points off the bench Saturday night as well. Monroe product Christian Nickerson finished with 16 points in 2 games in the series for the Eagles. Durham, the 5th-year head coach, collected his 54th win as a Nanook. Durham earned 246 career wins at Montana State before coming to Alaska. That's still the Big Sky Conference record. What's also cool about this win is that the men's team is looking good going to the holiday break. They're 8-2, their best start since the 2002-2003 season. The Mid-Alaska Conference Wrestling Championships went to the top team in the interior on Saturday. That team is the Lathrop Malamutes. Josh Miller, he won the 220-pound title in 46 seconds to improve to 16-0. Miller led 9 other Malamutes who won regional titles. The closest match of the day was West Valley's Joey Frissalone getting a point in the 4th overtime against North Pole's Brandon Antiesberger for a 5-4 decision in the 132-pound finale. The Patriots were the runner-up, followed by West Valley. Wrestlers that finished in the top 3 will be headed to the state tournament this weekend in Anchorage. And in Valdez at the Denali Conference Tournament, Glenn Allen won the team title, followed by Allison in 2nd, then Galena in 3rd, and Hutchison in 4th place. Allison's Caleb Dunlap, Jonathan St. Andre, and Jay Stone won the regional titles for the Ravens. Delta's Omar Powers is the 170-pound titleist, and Khalil Turner won the 106-pound title for Hutch. Also of note, Monroe's only wrestler this year, Tanner Clark, he won the 195-pound regional title. The Monroe Rams hockey team is looking more and more like the 1972 Miami Dolphins or the 2007 New England Patriots. Saturday, they won 3-1 over the Juneau Douglas Crimson Bears. They will go into 2016 with a 9-0 record. Dylan Steele scored 4 goals in the series for the Rams. Grant Olson and Ryan Michelle also scored on Saturday. Monroe won 6-4 on Friday night for the weekend sweep. Lathrop, they lost their Big Lake Invitational finale to Kenai 6-5. All of Lathrop's goals were on special teams, but the Cardinals, they scored 3 in the final frame to get the win. And we end the Monday Sportscast with another installment of the I-5 Interior Top 5 Plays.
Starting at number 5, Joe Slocum provides us with another no-look dime. Bengali Kaba finishes as Alaska wins 113-63 over Northwest Indian College on Friday night. Number 4, North Pole captain Dylan Latham finds Darian Donovan with a nice pass, and Donovan's shot on the one-timer too hot to handle. That was one of 3 goals for the Pats. At number 3, same game, we show some love to Delta. They make it a 5-4 game with 3 minutes left thanks to a shot from center ice and a deflection. You don't see that a lot. Daniel Butnick gets the goal, but the Huskies fall 6-4 to North Pole on Thursday. Number 2, nice play in UAF's men's basketball as Almir Hadjisevich draws 2 and finds Bengali Kaba for the slam. UAF wins 117-70 over NWIC on Saturday to give McDurham 300 wins. And at number 1, UAF hockey ends their 7-game winless streak in Game 1 of the Governor's Cup, courtesy of Alek Hadukovic. His dirty goal lifts Alaska to a 2-1 victory in the Sullivan Arena on Friday night. To vote for the play of the week, click on your favorite play on the I-5 poll on webcenter11.com. You can also comment on the KTVF Facebook and YouTube post and at KTVF11 Sports on Twitter for your vote. The play of the week will be revealed this Friday.
The I-5 Sports Report is brought to you by Adient Orthopedic Physical Therapy.
And that'll do it for sports tonight. Thanks for watching. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into a Monday night edition of the Fbx Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again, talking about the weather. Hope you had yourself a good weekend. All in all, not too bad. A little chilly, a little cooler than we were expecting, but at least it started to warm up a little bit yesterday, and we're today once again back in the freezer. But warmer temperatures on the horizon. We'll tell you about that in just a little bit. In I guess the best way to say in style of the season, this is a nice photograph sent in by Karen Southwood. It's a Christmas tree she has in her backyard and living in Anderson. And very nice, beautiful colors there. And as always, if you have a photograph that you'd like to share, send it to photos@ktbf11.com. And speaking of the photos, once again, a reminder, these are the areas that our sponsors that have photo calendars still available. Personnel Plus, Ice Fog Vapor, 907 Organic, Big Daddy's Barbecue, Graphic North, and the Prescription Center. So check those out if you want to still see about getting that for a stocking stuffer. Here's your numbers. 8 below currently after a high of 5 below. The low last night, 15 below. Record high was 35 in 1944, close to 60 below in 1910. And our sunrise and sunset equals about 3 hours and 51 minutes of daylight. That's a loss of 2 minutes from yesterday. And a reminder, our air quality is still not looking too good right now. Fairbanks is at stage 2, unhealthy for sensitive groups, while North Pole is at stage 3, just flat out unhealthy. So no burning really encouraged there whatsoever in the North Pole area, and just be particular what you're burning in the Fairbanks area. All right, here's our satellite and radar. You can see the flow is once again changing around. It's coming out of the southwest, and that means a little better chance of seeing some more moisture moving in across much of the interior. Some of it will be, for the most part, just be very light flurry activity. And you can see a little bit of activity moving across the Prince William Sound area also. Now, as far as what's going on across the rest of the state, over southeast Alaska, a little cold rain falling at Juneau, 34 degrees there. Ketchikan, some rain shower activity, 38. Snow shower activity around the Anchorage Bowl, 27. And rain at Kodiak, a cold 35 degrees there. Cold Bay at 33, partly cloudy skies. And then temperatures really warming up nicely, 33 at Bethel and 30 degrees at Nome with 8 below at Barrow. Fort Yukon at 18 degrees below zero. Once again, lower 48 weather is looking pretty interesting. One storm system moving across the Great Lakes, bringing in yet a reinforcement of warm air, with cold air moving in across the western half of the country. Another storm system sliding down the west coast, and that is bringing with it some very widespread snowfall into Tuesday. As you can see, the snowfall totals are pretty impressive. As you're looking at 6 to 12 inches in the dark areas, the little bit lighter area 3 to 6 inches. That includes the Denver region. Well, the temperatures will be plummeting quite a bit there. All because the jet stream is taking a pretty good dive down to the, taking up to the north and then diving down way down to the south. So maybe some cold air finally coming in by the end of the week across the Great Lakes and around the Buffalo area too. Okay, once again, time for our kids' weather, and all this week and for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to be looking at weather facts. In 1989, northeastern Wyoming had 87-mile-per-hour winds, whipping snowfall of 30 inches into huge drifts. Again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank. And when they return from Christmas vacation on January 5th, the kids of Salcha will be joining us. Here's your forecast for the rest of the state. For northern sections tomorrow, flurries at Barrow, snow showers in Nome, and a chance of snow for Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, looking at very lightly opportunity for scattered flurries for Fairbanks and Delta Junction. A little better chance of snow for Healy. Over southeast Alaska, it looks like mixed showers in Juneau, rain possible for Ketchikan. While over to the southwest, we're looking at windy at Cold Bay, mixed showers in Kodiak, and some snow showers for Bethel. And down over the south central regions, looks like a couple inches of snow possible for Anchorage, rain and snow in Homer, and 2 to 4 inches expected in Valdez. And our forecast for the remainder of the night, once again, another cold night in store, 7 below with a few flurries or light snow possible. Tomorrow's forecast, once again, cool temperatures, 2 degrees below zero, flurries or light snow by afternoon. And the extended forecast, looking at just mainly partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures warming up, though, at least getting into the single digits to teens below, or teens above, I should say, for the daytime highs, while overnight lows will once again be very comfortable for this time of year, usually around 12 to 13 below, but overnight lows will be about 5 below. So we're actually having a pretty mild time going into Christmas.
Christmas is coming. Ho, ho, ho.
Getting into the mood already.
That's right. All right, thank you, Mike. And we have run out of time. That'll do it. That'll wrap up this edition of the Fbx Evening News. From all of us here, have a great night.
Good night.